Hey everyone, welcome to Unbearable 73. Just going to do my post-match analysis for TNA Slammiversary. Now, to stay up front before I get into it, I would have done this a couple days ago, but it was very tedious watching this pay-per-view. Basically, like when you're in the audience, whether you're in the seats or like the through the camera, like the home audience, there's a reason they have the camera set the way they do. Like and the wrestlers always know where the central audience camera facing the fans at home are. There's things that are supposed to happen. The heel is supposed to work the crowd, to keep your blood up, to get you into the match, to make you want to see the face beat the crap out of them. And the face is supposed to kind of work the crowd to make you cheer as they do their moves and whatever, with the ones, counting the moves off and all that. And very little happened in this pay-per-view, okay? It was very... Probably the last two matches were the only ones I really felt drawn. Well, no, I'll talk as I go, but most of the first, 10 matches, make sure I'm saying the right number here. Most of the first 10 matches, they were just not, the wrestlers just did not draw you into it, you know what I mean? And that was kind of sad, right? Because that's one thing that pro wrestling has to do that to work, right? So anyway, let's get into this. Was organizing myself a little better. Right? This should not be too long a video. I'm just gonna kind of give you my notes, my thoughts on each match. I'm not gonna go over the matches on the pre-card too much. We'll just kind of skim through them, right? So first up, we had Zia Brookside, Giselle Shaw, Tasha Steele versus a four-way dance. Zia Brookside, Giselle Shaw, Tasha Steele, Fabi Apache. I predicted Shaw, and the actual winner was Tasha Steele, okay, who's on your screen right now. This match was a lot better than I thought it would. The ladies did a lot of good spots and a lot of good storyline dynamics, even though it's sort of just, the storyline that it told in the ring, not that there was a great storyline leading into this. The crowd really popped to it, and there was a really cool way of finishing here where Tasha steals the match by taking Shaw and slamming her into a ring post just after she knocked out Brookside with a knee. So again, very dynamic match. Also not particularly long. 6 minutes, and that was the right length for that time of match. And frankly, I would have had that as the first match on the main card. That Mike Santana Jake something match, that should have been on the pre card. That was Anyway, let's get on with it. Next up, we had where is it? Okay, next up, we had this match. So this was supposed to be Kushida versus Gresham. But Gresham had travel issues, which usually means something like Canadian border control would not let them into the country 9 out of 10 times. So Rich Swann jumped in to take the match here, okay? Now, the premise going into this was that Kushida had become infected by Gresham. Gresham had changed his gimmick, he became went crazy and became a Lovecraftian nightmare and started spewing out black chemicals that would give people diseases or whatever. Fine, Lovecraftian. It just wasn't going over very well, in my opinion. However, it did give an opportunity for Kushida, who got infected, to change to a more mystical gimmick, which is what he's going with here. That he's this mysticism thing. And had this been the end of this would have been the end of their feud, and I think both would have kept their gimmicks going forward, right? But so now it's not going to be in this feud. Now, whatever that pay-per-view is, probably going to be in their feud. Whatever. Rick Swann did a nice job stepping in here. Kushida's new gimmick looked okay, the mystical warrior thing. The crowd didn't seem very disappointed in the match change because I don't think anyone really cared about Gresham's gimmick change, to be honest. And Kushida, his submission's called it's called the hoverboard lock. It's basically a Kimura or double wrist lock. He did it pretty nifty. He applied it on the top rope and then suplexed Swann with it for doing it again, right? So that was okay. I had predicted that Kushida wins and Kushida won, and that wouldn't have been changed by anything by the standard of Rick Swann. But the fact that Rick Swann stepped in here. So let's move forward to the next one. So this match is the Militia, which Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich which representing the System, versus Spitfire, which is Danny Luna and Jody Threat. Predicted the Militia, and the Militia won. This match was bad. I mean, the ring work was solid, but the match storytelling was just bad. Crowd never really got into it. They should have gimmicked this match, like make it a hardcore match or a leather strap match or something. A couple of tables to give the crowd some nice pops. You know, you basically have a heel tag team, which is Spitfire, that people only mildly hate against a tag team acting in his face, who are a heel tag team, who again, there was no energy for this, no story energy. The biggest pop was when the Spitfire executed the Heart Attack, which is the name for the Hart Foundation finisher, that running clothesline thing. But it didn't finish anyone, which disrespected the move. Like they should have had the Militia do the move. So why would you lower the value of the move? It's bad storytelling all around. So this was a garbage match, basically. And the last match of the pre-card was, and Eric, this is add-on from one I did last, was Eric Young versus Hammerstone. Eric Young won. Hammerstone reminded me of Shane Douglas, if Shane Douglas did roids. The crowd was way more into this one than they were into the previous two matches. I probably could see Eric Young, the TNA legend. It was a good match, nice, quick, and the men did quick work. 5-minute match. Again, the right timing for this sort of match, right? Now, so let's get over to the main card. Sorry if I'm not ultra prepped, guys. You know me, I work on the fly. TNA Slammiversary. Okay. So our first match was Broken Matt Hardy versus JDC, who older fans know as Fandango. Matt looks slow for some reason. I don't know if he had injuries. I mean, he's 49. Age and injury could be catching up with him. Short to the point though. This match was short. It's like a 5-minute match. Matt hit a twist of fate off the second rope for a nice spot there. Matt keeps hitting his finishes. Then afterwards, Matt hit his finishes for revenge rally for his wife. Crowd popped. The main crowd pop was when he started going excessive after the match. It's a 7 out of 10 for me. We've seen this storyline before where like Twisted, Broken Matt Hardy, because the premise of Broken Matt Hardy is his whole family a bunch of demented lunatics. So his wife got involved. This guy hit his wife, and of course it was a revenge match. We've seen this storyline 15 times in the past 15 years. It was nothing special about it. And this match, it went 4 minutes and 40 seconds, which in my opinion was 2 minutes too long. Okay, the next match, right? This is our first big match of the night. This was the System versus ABC. I predicted the System. ABC won it. This match got a lot of good crowd reaction, and that's because the System is very well over as a heel faction, and it was the most consistent crowd reaction of all the matches to this point. This is one of the better matches on the card. It's a 9 out of 10. It ran for 16 minutes. It deserved it. You could have cut a minute or two off. This was one of the few matches where the early matches, I should say, where the heels worked the crowd and the faces. You got some nice move counts and things like that. The wrestling was really good. So there's that. Next match was Mike Santana versus Jake something. This match ran for 11 minutes and 40 seconds. Where are we here? That was, in my opinion, 11 minutes too long. This should have been on the pre-show. There's virtually no real storyline to this. I predicted Jake something won. Santana won, however. Who cares? No one cares. The crowd basically was calmed down. There was almost a botch in a ring dive by Jake something. Santana was out of position, but he did manage to catch him, recover and catch him. So he did a nice recovery there. The crowd gave a pop for an off-top rope German suplex, which was cool. And and from that German suplex to the last minute or two of the match, they were into it. So But this was a 6 out of 10. It was not a great match. Should have been on the pre-card. No one cared. There's no storyline that anyone cared about this one at all. Now, our next match was the Rascals, which was Trey Miguel, Wesley, and Zachary Wentz. So it's really the Rascals plus one guy. Versus the No Quarter Catch Crew, which is Charlie Dempsey, Miles Bourne, Tavian Heights from NXT. So this was an NXT Invasion match. I predict the Rascals would win, and the Rascals won. This match went for 14 minutes. It probably could have been a little shorter, you know. I would say. So the Rascals, they're like a very lucha libre style tag team. So if you're into, once you know that, you're kind of okay with them. But if you don't like lucha style, you're not gonna really like them. Okay, they don't do much besides lucha style, and the No Quarter Catch Crew obviously have the classical catch wrestling gimmick. The two teams did blend their styles fairly well. They knew how to work together, so the wrestlers did good. But the crowd really was only popping for moves, and otherwise they were basically like scanning their phones or whatever. It's a 7 out of 10 because of the quality in-ring work, but there was no. This is an NXT Invasion. There should have been some outside help from both sides. There should have been gotten violent. There should have been something more than just a lucha libre versus catch wrestling match. So 7 out of 10. Bleh. Now this was probably your best storyline match of the event. Is the next one. It's AJ Francis versus PCO. Okay. Now PCO's intro here was the best intro in TNA in probably a year or two. They had a nice frank homage. Because PCO, Perfect Creation 1, is a gimmick. For those who don't know who PCO is, a long time ago in WWE, PCO was one of the fabulous Rougeau brothers or whatever they were called, the Quebecers, Carl Ole. And you know, he's had a different gimmick over there. He became known for hardcore wrestling eventually, and he's really good at it. And eventually he came up with this PCO gimmick, which PCO was his in-ring initials initially, but eventually he decided to go with a sort of Frankenstein gimmick, and it works fairly well. TNA's been marketing him as their next Abyss type wrestler, you know, or the Undertaker or whatever, you know. So his gimmick is working as long as used qualitatively, like in small doses, you know. Lately, they've been giving him a girlfriend, Steph Verlander. So, you know, that he's been romancing her with, thank you, give you flower, you know, but I know I'm comedically doing it bad, but it was a nice little gimmick. And then obviously AJ Francis, you know, knocked her out and so forth. Now the other stars, one of the themes here tonight has been that they're in French Canada, Quebec, and so obviously the Canadians are going over strong. And there's a title, it's what was it called? The Canadian International Heavyweight Championship, which is a long-time championship for a local like French Canadian wrestling promotion that I think it died. I think it went under in the early 2000s, and then TNA has brought the title back because to the French Canadian wrestlers, they're sending a lot of guys down south. Think of AWA, for example. It's a strong like place in your heart type of wrestling federation. So I think TNA brought this back, obviously give a buzz to this match, right? And long story short, AJ Francis bought the title and declared himself the champion. PCO won. Basically, I predicted PCO and PCO won. PCO took the TNA Digital Media Championship and the Canadian International Heavyweight Championship. I predicted they're going to dissolve and get rid of the TNA Digital Media Championship and just have the Canadian International Heavyweight Championship going forward. That makes way more sense. Anyway, to the match itself, PCO intro got the crowd into it. His gimmick, the French Canadian plus his gimmick, you know, blah, blah, blah. AJ French had a lot of high heel because he actually let him hit Steph. And plus his heel actions towards their relationship put their storyline with the relationship over, in my opinion. like then there was a stupid thing just to give you a side. Oh, I want to point the good stuff. This cameraman focused on PCO tying his shoe for like 35 seconds. Why, I don't know. This basically became a Canadian street brawl, whatever they call it, and so that meant a hardcore match. There were a bunch of good spots with tables, some nice chair work, you know, and both wrestlers took shots and gave them out. They had a nice, cool run-in by Rhino. Rhino always makes the match better. And the reason Rhino came in is because Rich Swann ran in. Rich Swann is normally AJ Francis' like valet or whatever, and so he interfered. So Rhino gored Rich Swann so hard. Like, if I could actually find the spot, I'll show it to you. There's Rhino. Yeah, I don't know if I can catch it or not. Okay. I want to pause, and I don't want to get copyright struck. Rhino basically gores him so hard the ring vibrates. Like, watch, here it comes. Pause. And no one gores better than Rhino. Watch the ring. Watch, the ring is actually going to move. See how the ring like literally shook and like jello? Yeah, so the crowd popped hard. The match was very well done. 9 out of 10 both. The storyline was very well done. The in-ring work was very well done. Excellent match. Next up, we had Jordynne Grace versus Ash by Elegance. I predicted Grace would win. Grace did win. There was no reason for Ash by Elegance to win this match. There was no real storyline here other than Ash by Elegance wanted a title shot. The crowd was not really content here. I think the crowd wanted more out of this match than they got. They did pop for some moves. The first third of the match was a little discontinuous with the wrestlers not seeming on the same page, but the ladies got together by the end of the match. And I just don't think there was enough heel heat on this match, right? And because Ash by Elegance, I don't think anyone takes her seriously as a heel, right? 8 out of 10. This would have been a nice place for what's her face Perez from NXT to come in and like give the victory back to Jordynne Grace in the TNA event, you know. So 8 the match I enjoyed. It was maybe a little too long, like 12 minutes. It could have been more like 10, you know. Anyway. So now we had now we have to like what should have been the match of the night, which was the match of the night. I'm sorry, Mustafa Ali versus Mike Bailey. I had predicted Ali would win, but Speedball Mike Bailey did win, and again that was the Canadian versus American thing. Plus Mike Bailey has been on a strong face run, and Ali is a well over heel. This was the X Division title match. There you go. The crowd popped to moves. They were not very active early, but they did start singing, hey, sorry. I messed that up. Sorry, I'm reading from my next set of notes. Okay, so right from the get-go, Ali, who knows how to heal it up, had the crowd in a like a lather, you know. The match had some of the best build-up going into it any match on this card. Ali knows how to work the crowd as a heel. I don't even think most of the previous heels yelled at the crowd even once. Ali was constantly jawing with the crowd. The storytelling was great, and then so this match is going on and having a great match. And storytelling is good. Now remember, they're in French Canada, so to speak. And remember the Montreal Screwjob where Earl Hebner came out and screwed Bret Hart out of the champion to American. Well, Ali they knocked out the refs. So Ali called Earl Hebner like he's gonna get. And they make like Hebner's going to screw Speedball Mike Bailey and give the victory to Ali, but he wound up screwing Ali, and it was really good. Like Earl Hebner redeemed himself in a sort of storyline. I never really going to redeem yourself for, although I am of the view that the Montreal Screwjob was a work. So, but anyway, this is a 10 out of 10. Best match almost by far in this whole card. Ali deserved all the credit for making himself hateable for the last 2 years. Speedball Mike Bailey got the title. Hopefully Ali can keep the heel run and maybe get a different title next. Anyway, so there's that. And finally, we get to our championship. I did not expect. Well, I called the end of this, but I expected to go differently. Okay, this is Moose versus Josh Alexander versus Steve Macklin versus Nick Nemeth versus Frankie Kazarian versus Joe Hendry in a 6-way elimination match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. I predicted Nemeth or Hendry, and the conditions I predicted were if Hendry were staying in TNA for a longer term deal, he would have won here, I think. Okay, because he's probably the most over face in the company right now. Okay, but all reports are that Hendry's contract is up sometime this year, early next year, and he's going to go WWE at the end of that. And because so Nemeth wins, and you could see Nick Nemeth event being the TNA Championship once he had come over here. That was building for a while. Anyway, the crowd popped to moves, but they weren't very consistent. They were consistently inactive early. They did start singing "Hey Hey Goodbye" when Macklin got eliminated. This match had a lot of nice spots. Like Nemeth, he's super kicking Kazarian off the stage onto a table, which was nifty because Kazarian just disappeared to the end of the match. Or they did a 25-man German suplex chain with Alexander pulling like 20 of them off. That was pretty cool. The crowd was counting. Moose looked really strong in this loss. The crowd was legit stunned when he was eliminated, and noise level increased because they knew the title was changing hands. Then Josh Alexander executed a heel turn, hit a low blow and eliminated Hendry. So Hendry and Alexander are probably going to do a feud after this. The crowd started chanting bullshit. There was a lot of real heel heat. So by the time this happened, the crowd was into the match, right? They basically and then the crowd got a lot more energy when Nemeth took out Alexander, and then we were down to basically Nick Nemeth versus Frankie Kazarian. A minute or two later, because Kazarian ran back in the ring after being knocked unconscious for a while, and that was that. I initially thought this was like a 7.5 out of 10, but on retrospect, I'm gonna call it maybe an 8.5 out of 10 because it feels better in retrospect. This was the longest match by far. This is part of the German suplex chain, pretty good, This is after Josh Alexander makes his heel turn. The chant is starting, And of course, the end of the night, all the TNA champs come out, which is pretty good. So they're all running out. There's Nick Nemeth's brother congratulating him. You got Jordan Grace out there. You got all the TNA champs all celebrating together. So that's our pay-per-view. Overall, it was some individual matches. Like if you could watch the individual matches, like on TNA's TV cable streaming service, you'd be better off than watching the whole event. I mean, this is like TNA WrestleMania, and plus it was in Canada, so all the French-Canadian wrestlers and the heels faces went over big. The system got disrupted for sure. The only system holder with a title left is the Militia. They're all having to hear us a nice touch. And Nick Nemeth was heading towards the TNA title since he arrived in TNA. The only barrier was really Joe Hendry, who's going over big, but it looks like Hendry's probably signed with W, like I said. So, I don't know. I was disappointed overall by the pay. There was some really good matches at certain points, 3 or 4 of them. But early on, it was tough to want to watch this whole thing because the heels that were not working the crowd, they're not making me want to hate them, want to see them get their asses kicked, So, anyway, that's the event. Not going to belabor it. If you have any questions, ask me down below, and I'll follow up with them. Thank you. If you enjoyed this, share it out there. Hopefully I didn't bore you. That's why I was going through this speedily. Next up, wrestling-wise, should be Death Before Dishonor, which is this weekend. I'll have a pre-show out for that. Again, Friday probably. Have a nice day and enjoy yourselves.